The aim of this video assessment is to show my ability to effectively clean out horse enclosures while wearing the correct PPE. As part of the criteria, I need to show consideration to the animal's needs ethically and humanely, comply with hygiene protocols to ensure animal health, and follow security protocols to ensure the animal's safety. I am required to complete a routine cleaning task of an animal enclosure. The tasks to be completed include collecting and scooping up the fecal matter, disposing of the fecal matter, filling up water, feeding out with slow feeders, and then placing the animal back in the enclosure. For this demonstration, I will be using Charlie. Charlie is a large male horse. He is chocolate brown in colour. Charlie's behaviour is extremely goofy and food-driven. He loves to goof around and is very cuddly and playful. So let's get started. First we're going to wash our hands. I just did a quick washing hands for this clip because I had just previously washed my hands but the footage didn't save. But please note that I did actually wash my hands for the full amount of time. I was just refilming it just for filming purposes. And here is Charlie's enclosure. So it's outside, there's a bit of fecal matter in there, some mud. There's the next enclosure, but we're mainly worrying about Charlie's. So first up, we're going to remove waste from the enclosure. So I have my very specific rake and wheelbarrow that we use only for this purpose, and we're going to be collecting all the fecal matter from out of the enclosure. Also, please note that I'm wearing the correct PPE. I'm wearing gloves and long pants, as well as hard covered shoes. Here I am just getting the camera ready. We use very specific rakes and wheelbarrows for different jobs on the farm, so the rake and wheelbarrow that I'm using here is only meant for picking up fecal matter. So what I'm going to do is I'm scooping up the piles. Charlie does a few, there'll be a few little piles throughout the paddock, so I just got to scoop them up and then put them in the wheelbarrow. Once that's all done, we take our full wheelbarrow over to the poo bay. And here I am, I'm putting my rake down where it belongs. It sits outside the poo bay for the next person to use. And I'm going to be carrying the wheelbarrow full of fecal matter up the ramp, and it gets emptied into the poo bay, and then occasionally we have council cleanup who comes and collects the poo bay and empties it for us. Next we're going to be topping up and filling up waters. So Charlie's water is here. It's a 60-litre bucket and we fill it up every day. There's another bucket. We use the retractable rainwater, and here you can see that I think I was messing with the hose, but we put the water in and we're just going to fill it up to the very top. Next is feeding and placing the furniture back in the enclosure. So the horses don't have a lot of furniture in there, but we did put the slow feeders out in there, and the slow feeders are an enrichment tool. It means that their food is placed in a big barrel, and it has holes inside the barrel, so they spin it and it slowly releases their food overnight, so it keeps them entertained as well as feeding them. It's kind of like an enrichment puzzle. So I'm carrying this one out into Charlie's enclosure, and then I put Sailor's own slow feeder in his enclosure, which is next to Charlie's. And so now I went to go get Charlie from outside in the paddock, and I had him tied up outside in the wash bay where we were putting on his nighttime rugs. As you can see, it was really, really dark. I tried really hard to get the best footage I could, but I've undone his halter and I'm taking him off, and you can't really see because it's dark, but Charlie's enclosure is just behind there. So the next day I did refilm it in the daylight, me putting him back into his enclosure properly. It was hard to hold the camera and as well as do the action, so I'm just redoing it now. I'm wearing my gloves and I'm just unclicking the fence, and then it clicks back on, and that keeps the horse inside, and you can see Charlie's now in his little enclosure. And we just give Charlie a good pat for participating. Thank you very much, Charlie. And now we're putting the equipment away. So when I was done, I put his halter back. And of course, when I'm done with the disposable gloves, they go in the bin. As you can see, I put the wheelbarrow back where it should go. And good night, Charlie. Night night, Charlie.